Are we recording?
Yeah.
A political figure like Patty Hearst in that picture, no pistol, using vowels as my ammunition, persistently pushing buttons to build my bridges. Connection is the new resistance.
Damn. Nice. That's a very technical verse too. I really like that. I mean, like, I listened to Where My Bitch Is At.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which I wrote 10 years ago, but
yeah,
okay.
yeah, I know it's pretty old.
Yeah.
And I saw the trailer for Mother.
Oh, cool.
From True TV. So but I hadn't. That's the first time I heard something so like technical rapping. So
It's new.
Cool.
It's new. That's in my new album I'm working on.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's talk about that. You're getting a new album that's coming out. You're working on it with Keith Shockley right now, as I almost stumble over my words.
It's okay.
How's that been? What's that been like? Tell us about the process. Is this the first album you're dropping or what?
No, it's my third.
Third.
Okay.
But the internet likes to make up its own stories, so we'll go with it's my first. And I'm Young Thug's lawyer's mother is the latest.
There you go. helps the narrative. Did somebody actually say that?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It got so far that Twitter actually put one of those like disclaimers
Oh
on
my
it.
God,
it
really?
was like, actually, this is Mandy May Cheatham, aka Mandy Mayhem.
That's why I love the Instagram comment section.
Yeah.
Because that's its own like comedy show in itself.
Sometimes when it's not on your page, it's funny, but
that
when
is
it's
true.
on yours, it's not so good.
That is true. I'm sorry, but yeah, but that could work for you though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, for what was it? Almost a decade, I used to believe that Pusha T and his brother were twins.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
There's always those like weird little like fake rumors that they make up about like famous people.
Yeah.
To link them to other famous people.
Mm.
You know? Is there anything that you've ever heard that's nuts? Like, my favorite one is that Jack Nicholson was actually raised by his grandma. He was raised to think that his grandma was his mother and his mother was his sister. That's something I've heard a couple times.
I can tell you a rumor that got me kicked off of TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, for gossiping about Erykah Badu's pussy.
Okay.
That's literally what they said to me. That's
That'll
the
get you in
reason.
trouble. It's beloved. It's
beloved.
Of all the pussies.
I know.
It's a good one.
And I was saying only glorifying things about her pussy. But I have a lyric. Here we go again. I have a lyric that you're common, I'm Erica, to be fair to ya, for ya, hop up on this. Lot of boys lose it when lost inside of my juices. The truth is I fucking toss them. And I was like explaining that to my people in my live, and I said, oh, the lyric is because there was a rumor that Erykah Badu's pussy is such fire that it fucks up the artist that she dates and makes them make weird shit.
It's very true, yeah. That's been said multiple times. Not just make weird shit, but dress weird as shit.
I mean, I
do
feel like
weird shit.
That's fuck yeah. I want her to do that to me.
know?
I would like to have her pussy affect me in such a way.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Hell
but
yes.
then they kicked me off. They kicked me off for a week for gossiping, quote unquote, about Erica's pussy.
About her pussy. That's a shame. You sound like a whistleblower to me, not a gossiper.
Yeah.
You know, let them know.
I mean,
let the
I
streets
feel
know.
like it was support for her pussy incense that she's selling.
Really.
Oh, she
Wait.
got pussy incense?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's her pussy flavor, and it sells out so fast that she can't even keep it.
Is it like her and Gwyneth Paltrow are like collabing on this thing? Because Gwyneth has a pussy
Candle.
thing.
Hers is a candle. Erica's is incense.
No.
Yeah.
I love
way.
this.
Yeah.
Of just different female celebrities and like pussy home goods.
Yeah.
You know? That's great.
Pussy
You know?
home goods. That's amazing.
Right? That's great.
I
Kate
love that.
Hudson's going to come out with a fucking, coffee mug made out of her pussy. I don't know. A fruit bowl.
Why Kate Hudson? Where did that very
I don't
random?
know. I was like-
is there something we should know about you and Kate Hudson?
No, but she does Fabletics with Kevin Hart. So I'm like, she deals with black people already. You know?
What does that have to do with a line of pussy? Oh,
She's a mogul already.
Oh, no,
she
wait.
sells things. She deals with black people.
Right.
Erica Du's black. Kate Hudson's a mogul.
Copy.
Fusion dance. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I'm learning from this is I shouldn't talk about celebrities.
Because I know too much.
No, because I'm famous now. I don't know if you know, but
That
I'm
is-
famous. I'm a famous rapper. And Yeah, someone said that when we walked in the
Yeah,
studio.
literally as we walked into the studio and we were walking back here, I went and got her at the door. 2 dudes walk in behind
That's
her.
great.
They're like, "Yo, you're famous. I fuck with you. Like, you
That's
got
hilarious.
keep doing your thing. I love it. Like,
It's funny.
That's
she's
fucking.
like, I fuck with your
You are
raps."
famous, dude. You got some.
I am
you got some
famous.
shit going.
I know. So it's like I can't actually talk shit about anyone anymore because it's like actually everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
And, like I can't call Drake a whiny fuckboy anymore because.
Did you just call Drake a whiny fuckboy?
No, I
Yeah, right?
didn't. There's
Exposed.
no evidence whatsoever.
Mandy Mayhem calls Drake a whiny fuckboy. That's the thumbnail right now.
Yeah.
It's already done. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I'm not the first.
Yes.
But
Cut
listen,
it. Put it out.
Drake and I do share an audience.
Yeah, and you're both from Toronto, right? Is that true?
Ooh.
Right, but Millennial Moms is our audience.
Millennial
Really?
moms is your audience.
Yeah.
I have a very diverse audience, actually.
I can see it.
Let's get into that. Let's get into that. Who is it?
Well, men who think they have tree trunks.
Oh
As a
wow.
big
Wow,
part
okay.
of my audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
To battle your extra large legendary clip.
Yeah. You're-
Okay, cool. So that makes sense. You've called upon the men with tree trunks.
They're like, whose is longer?
Yeah. Any guy that wants to become a different person is like, I gotta hang out with Mandy.
Yeah,
She has an Erykah Badu pussy.
clearly.
So who else?
So then I have also a solid contingent of Southern lesbians.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't it?
Maybe that's the race movie demographic thing. You know what I mean? I was saying you look like you'd be in a race movie.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
you're the cool Southern lady in 1950 who's like in a gay relationship or something. You know?
Yeah,
It's fucking cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Southern lesbians, millennial moms.
I want to be your manager.
I do. I also have a lot of like.
Manager.
I have a lot of, let's call them older white men with a prevalence. No, with a prevalence. Sure, wrong word, but whatever. With a prevalence for American flags and pickup trucks.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Sexy.
And then young black women in New York. It's young black women that speak to me most often,
Okay.
or the tree trunks.
I
gonna
love
be
how
is
that's
there
the
gonna-
group name.
The tree trunks, and then there's just also like also the middle-aged woman, just wherever she is, wherever
Yeah.
she may be.
Yeah.
When they start hearing me, like a lot of my new album is menopause themed, so there's a great deal of support for that.
What made you want to go that
Yeah.
route, making it menopause thing?
Night sweats.
Okay.
And just like it's really intense, and people don't talk about it, and definitely not in music. Like essentially you become 40 and you're supposed to become invisible, and even in my 30s I wrote the song I'm Not Invisible in my 30s.
I did see that actually. Yeah.
And because I was already starting to feel it then. It's like you have all of this privilege that you don't realize you have, and then all of a sudden the world is like done with you, and you're like, I don't understand what my value is anymore.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't one day just be like, I want my value to be my ass and my face. It's like the world just constantly tells you that's what it is, and then it's like, oh, just kidding, you don't have that anymore. Like it's no wonder we have this like epidemic of plastic surgery and butt lifts and all this shit that women do to their bodies and face, because they aren't given an alternative their entire lives. So it's hard to change that programming. So my whole thing is just about putting images and ideas and stories into the image bank that we haven't seen before. So I've not heard a rap album about menopause. Have you?
No.
Right.
I'll be honest. I haven't heard a song
About
about menopause
menopause.
like ever.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, really cool. It
Yeah.
like, can you elaborate a little bit more on like that change of feeling like not seen? Like, was it like a very like visceral change? Like, what was the first time or first experience you had where you felt that way? Can you
Someone bumped into me.
really?
Yeah.
And they didn't even say like sorry.
No, they
or-
was like, oh shit, I didn't see you there.
really
Literally.
like a ghost,
Yeah.
like an apparition.
Oh, yeah, really. Hello.
You thought you had unfinished business.
It's insane. So I stopped dyeing my hair in 2018, and that's when it first started to happen. And I used to dye my hair red, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I had this moment, and actually I documented it all on Instagram, the actual moment when I was sitting there and I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. And I started crying, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm never going to work again as an actor, and I'll probably never get laid also, but I just can't fucking do it anymore.
Yeah.
It was exhausting, not just like dyeing my hair every 2 weeks, but feeling like I had to hold everything up all the time. My face, my ass, my tits, my whatever. And I'm just like, I don't have the fucking energy for this anymore. I'm just trying to like make art and like enjoy my day. I don't, you know, and so that was rolling around for a while, because that other album has a bunch of songs, and just the sexual harassment every day that was going on. I had this long, beautiful red hair or whatever. So I was just constantly people commenting on it and having things to say about my appearance and whatever. So that other song, I'm Not Here for Your Entertainment, is another component of that. So I started to let it grow in, and you could see the roots, and I was really, really this was before the pandemic. It was before everyone stopped dyeing their hair. It was very weird that I had this thing happening. Now it's super normal. I'm so annoyed by that.
You're a trendsetter.
What are you talking about? What is the thing that's happening?
Women growing their hair out. You see women growing their hair out all the time now. Lots of women with gray hair that are young in their 30s
they're not
and
as
40s.
willing to dye their hair all the fucking time. Which I mean is fair if it's going.
It was part of Me Too, and it was part. But listen, when I did my research, it's like 30% of women under 30 already are going gray, but 75% of women dyed their hair. Like the last time they did, 75%, and like that's like basically everyone over 12. So everybody dyed their hair.
That's true. I mean, women in general, I feel like no matter what age, dye their hair a lot in different colors and stuff. So I could see that being a big milestone of like, oh no, my hair's getting gray, so now I have to have to just do it.
Yeah. I was like, at 30, I started dyeing my hair after my 30th birthday, because I was like, that's what you do. When you start to get gray hair, that's just what you do. Yeah. It wasn't like, you know. So when I stopped dyeing it, I went through this it took a year for it to grow out, and it was slowly growing out, and it was like puberty all over again. And I found this community of gray-haired women, and there's a really beautiful community online, and I created content around it. Every day I would post stories about what I was going through and how I was learning about or facing my own objectification, how I was self-surveilling all the time. I would walk in a room and always be worried about how I fit into the room. How does the room see me? Am I safe? Am I fuckable enough? Am I blah, 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 whatever. Instead of just walking in the room and looking out through my eyeballs and being like, what's in here for me? What is in this room to serve me? Which is how I would imagine a man walking into a room, you know, in my fantasy. But as an actor too, that's a big part of acting is being with your scene partner and looking at them and like taking them in from the perspective of what's my opinion about this person, as opposed to getting lost in what does this person want from me? Who do they want me to be? Which is what happens when you're told your entire life, oh, you're here for my entertainment. Like the first time I got whistled at, I was 5 years old wearing a bikini at a pool party. And it was like, I was like walking, like bikini walk, because that's what you do when you're
imitating,
5.
Your mom or some girl you saw on TV or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Someone whistled at me, and then I got scared and went in the house because it felt weird. And I didn't wear a bikini again until my mid-30s. I actually didn't realize why until I was sitting in therapy, and I was like, holy fuck. So it's this like, you're like, I'm not safe because somebody has a feeling about my body. And so I have to like surveil, and it just becomes this separation of self. And now young women have the phone constantly looking back at them. So they're checking their self externally all the time. There is no internal view of the world. You have to fight for that. So that was a big part of this journey for me before I, went back into music. And I don't know that I would have been able to go back into music had I not taken possession of my life again.
Well, I was kind of going to ask that in a way of like, you seem like you think a lot about perception, but then you're a female rapper. You know what I mean? And that, of all genres of music, I think is the hardest to go into if you're worrying about perception all the time because you have to be the hottest one, the dopest one, and everything changes. It's not about staying power. You know, everything's always going to the next thing, even for men too. So how do you deal with that in that genre of music?
Yeah, I would say that was one of the things that kept me out of it for so long was this idea of like, I wasn't worthy. You know, to be worthy, you have to be not only the best, but you have to be chosen, co-signed, you know, all those things. I was like, that's never happening for me.
Yeah.
I was a white, red-haired chick from Toronto. Like, it wasn't happening. And I was having fun with it and infusing a lot of humor as a way to kind of be like, don't worry, don't come for me. I'm not that serious, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
which is a very big thing. I think a lot of rappers, especially, I'll be honest, especially a lot of white rappers go for that, where it's like they either go super lyrical miracle, like non-commercial whatsoever, or like, I'm just joking, but I'm actually kind of good, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're like, please, no one actually attack me for being vulnerable. Which I can understand, but I feel like that's a bit of a artistic cop-out sometimes. If it's not true to who you are in that moment.
To be fair, it's quite scary.
Of
so
course.
It's an artistic cop-out, but it's a scary world for anyone. And that's part of what I love about it so much. It's like, you know, hip-hop has always given me this opportunity to express the things that are in me but aren't allowed to be in me.
Yeah.
You know, like the hypersexuality, the rage, the violence, the fucking, you know, desire to eviscerate somebody. And what I love about the art form is that it was not, I'm not going to say created, because it was created as a party, you know, from the party, gestated from the party. But it became this method of diffusing violence. The dance battle in particular, the breakdancing in particular was a method of diffusing violence.
And just self-expression.
And self-expression. But it's like the battle, right? It's like, instead of killing you, we're going to battle. And I love that, because I am murderous. And when I used to, like, when I was younger, another reason I didn't get into the art form fully was because everyone would be like, I did hip hop karaoke for a long time, and people would be like, I would pay to see you. Why don't you release your own music? And I would be like, I'm not mad enough to make rap music.
I think that's a big thing that people often think about and shit. And
you don't have to be, but like, it fucking helps.
Yeah.
And I'm mad now.
And just
like,
opinionated,
you know? Mad. And, you know, if you don't get to 48 and you're not fucking raging at all the time you wasted, you know, worrying about everyone else's opinions or trying to be what the world wanted me to be. If you're not raging by the time you hit menopause, you're on drugs.
Well, I'll just say this. I don't know. I just really applaud what you're doing, because I think it's really fucking cool, because even when I was a kid, I swear to God, like, listening to hip-hop, I did always think it was weird where, like, these rappers would get discovered at, like, 16, then they turn 25 and just be disposable, like, never seen again, you know, pushed out of the way by these labels. And I always wondered, like, even back then, like, I wonder what an album would be like from, like, a 50-year-old person. Now you have that with, like, Jay-Z or something. But even now, I'm like, I wonder what Jay-Z's going to sound like when he's fucking 80. And I feel like it should be open enough to do that.
Gil Scott-Heron is what he'll sound like when he's 80.
Probably. Yeah. You know, or fucking Andrew Carnegie, but who knows?
Yeah, I fully hear you on everything that you're saying in breaking out of that and coming out of that rage, because obviously you and I share, you know, the acting side as well.
And you're pretty, so you feel...
Constant.
I mean, I say that as a joke.
It's constant.
But
it's constant.
No, but I think it's the same thing for men. It's like...
Absolutely.
Everyone has something to say about it, and so it's confusing, right?
I've not been seen for so many roles because, and I've heard this from agents and managers, and I've said this before, maybe on this podcast or at least my other one, but I've been told that I'm too pretty for certain gigs, and
That's
it's like, what the
hilarious.
fuck? Like, how am I, like, what are you talking about, dude?
That's what I tell myself every time I don't book a job.
That's They didn't want to see me because I'm too pretty.
I'm like, I'm just not good enough. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't say I'm too pretty.
I understand that though, because
No,
I mean,
sure.
I wouldn't pick you to be like a Blockbuster cashier. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're being honest, like a gas
hell
pump
no.
guy. There's
Yeah,
roles
yeah.
for like fat losers.
Wow.
I'm
don't say the
sorry,
F word.
Kyle, but there are roles on screen
Listen,
for fat losers.
I was a little upset
me.
when Ryan Gosling fucking got the Ken part over me a little bit, but that's why I'm wearing pink today.
I was
but,
thinking
you
about
know.
this on the subway on the way over about how lucky I am, right? Mostly because here we go. Mostly because I just went on a date with somebody and he paid me $300 to have lunch with him.
Holy shit! What?
We can get into that later.
Was it like a Mandy Mayhem meet and greet?
No, it was just
Mean
it's
green lunch.
called sugar dating, but yeah, that's what I did because I have no money.
Was it sweet?
It was no, I had
Yeah.
a burger. He paid.
Hey.
But anyway,
I would hope so.
I was thinking about how I have this like advantage that I can sell myself for money over like a lot of the other people on the subway. That I was
Yeah.
that bitch couldn't get $300 for lunch. Look at how privileged I am, you know,
Yeah.
to be living the life of my dreams. So you know, it's on my mind.
I feel like you're getting all these men now that are like the daddies that want to just be taking care of people that like your lyrics and all the funny things that you do are so
Yeah.
sexual, and they're like, oh my gosh, she must be fucking nasty. Like I want
Yeah.
to explore this girl and
Yeah.
see her. That you know.
Well, they're split into camps too.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some younger guys too.
Younger guys, fuck
There's
yeah.
a lot of younger guys.
Listen.
It's weird. Yeah.
No, it's
Not weird, but you know what I mean.
It's fine. I just released a song called "Teach You How to Fuck."
Teach you how to fuck.
So that's where the young guys are coming from. And I had the sweetest message. Oh my God. From this guy. He said, "Can I ask you some questions about, you know?" And I was like, "Sure." And so he said, "I'm getting ready to lose my virginity.
Oh,
and we've been
wow.
talking about it, and she's already had sex, and I'm nervous. Can you please help me? Like, give me some pointers." And I fucking went in with this kid. Like, I told, not a kid, he's old enough. He's like 20
Yeah,
in his
he's like
20s.
20. That's actually great
I
though.
fucking
That's
went in.
crazy.
I was
would
like,
never
here's
ask
the
that, but-
position. This is where the G spot is. This is how you listen to her body. This is what you do.
That's
This is how you
hilarious.
know when shit, you know. And afterward, he sent me this message with like a million emojis. He was like, "It went so well. Thank you so much."
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
funny.
I know my shit. Like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
That's amazing.
Not only do I have like, you know, Erykah Badu-esque pussy,
But you know how to educate.
I know how to educate.
There you go.
I'm thinking, you know, I've been thinking about another podcast. I had one called Going Gray in Tinseltown that I used to document the process.
Oh, okay.
And I interviewed other women working in Hollywood.
Did you lived in LA for a long time?
I still do.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I
well,
thought you were See, that's how great the internet is.
I
though,
know.
you
Everyone
know?
thinks I live here.
I literally thought I was like, this chick is somebody from like down the street.
I was on the New
know?
York fucking internet, whatever the internet, the New York Instagram page,
Yeah,
like New
yeah.
Yorker, and it's like
Yeah.
she's lived in Brooklyn for 3 months, and now look at her. Was the funny part.
Because you do seem like that. I'm like, this person has a lot of character, and I'm like, I could see them being right in Washington Square Park, where
100%,
we
yeah.
just shot one of our last videos. Make sure to check that out.
Yeah, the plug.
But I could definitely see you doing that type of shit. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So-
I'm definitely New York at heart. I studied out here, and I'm from Toronto, which is like very similar.
So what made you go LA?
culturally.
I'm gonna take this personally too. So
The
please think about
industry.
your words.
So I was doing hip hop karaoke in Toronto. I was
Okay.
acting at the time, and Fat Lip from The Far Side came to hip hop karaoke and DJ'd a show, and we met, and he told his record label about me and brought
Wow.
me out to LA to do a show at the Roxy. I opened for them for the 25th anniversary of the Far Side, Bizarre Ride to the Far Side album.
That's sick.
And it was a complete shit show, and they were fighting the whole time, and half of them wanted me there, and sort of like my comments.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
half of them are like, "This is disgraceful." The other half are like, "This is the best shit I've ever seen."
Yeah.
And so I wrote a show about it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I need to write a show. This is nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, I ran a cheerleading company for 10 years, and cheerleading had a very similar
Let's go into that.
effect on people. It was like, people were either like, this is the best shit ever, or
Yeah.
this needs to stop immediately. What are these freaks doing?
You're an enigma.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I'm like, hip hop, this is the same thing. I need to write a show about this. So I pitched it to a friend and another friend of mine who's since passed, Deb Jarvis. She helped me with the structure of the show. And I wrote a pilot for a half-hour show about this suburban housewife who, when she rages, raps, and she
Yeah.
gets arrested. The opening scene is her getting arrested, screaming NWA lyrics, so she gets arrested, and slams into Fat Lip in his car. He was all written into the show, and we all end up in jail because he's black, and I'm threatening everyone. So anyway, I didn't sell that version of the show, the half-hour show. I
Okay.
sold the short form version, but that got me my visa, and I was out there, and it was like, this is it, kid. This is your big break, you know.
Nice.
And then immediately after we made the show and it was on True TV, I started right back at auditioning for non-union commercials again.
That's fun.
Yeah, sounds
And I've
great.
been there ever since. And I got to a point, November 1st, 2022, I got an audition for a retirement home commercial and thought, okay, this is it. They're putting me into a retirement home, literally.
That's fucked up. But I could
This is
see.
literally the first thing, like
Yeah.
one of the first things that her and I talked about when I had gone up to her, because I had seen her out at a couple mutual parties, like at Soho House and
Yeah.
some other stuff. And then I ran into her at Silencio for the after party of the One Love after party, the movie that just came out from Bob
nice.
Marley.
Oh
And
yeah.
this is one of the first things that we kind of like talked about while we were sitting there, which is just crazy. But
Because you're an actor.
because I'm an
Talking
actor,
about the
and
retirement
I
home
hear it.
shit.
I'm like kind of separated from it right now. Like I know it's not feeding my soul. I know that it's. I'm kind of in that position as well that you were kind of talking about, where it's like, just do whatever the fuck is making you happy right now,
Yeah.
because this is one of the things.
Like,
Yeah,
I would be
I'm glad for you to
happy.
be a part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Thank
would
you for
be
being
happy in class. I fucking love class.
Yeah.
It's so good.
here. Yep.
And then you step outside and you get hit by a bus. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, the industry is not the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
That's actually a
talk
fantastic
about
quote.
talk about what your agent had said to you when she sent the email and
Yes, I got the audition because the audition pings like immediately, right? And then right away I got an email from her that was like, you don't have to audition if you don't want to, but it's like a really cool retirement home, and they take people as young as 50, but I totally understand if you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? The humiliation is so deep at this point that I don't think it could get any worse. Like,
Yeah.
currently I was playing approximately every 5 minutes on CNN on a sleep apnea commercial where I was played twins, and one has like the sleep apnea implant and the other one has the fucking mask. And I had two husbands and they were both in their mid 60s.
Oh wow. You have to at some. I know this sounds a little bit bizarre though, but in one way, it can be almost flattering. This is just me silver lining saying that. Whereas the fact is, like, you're good looking. You're obviously not that age, but it's also like their marketers are trying to be like, we're trying to appeal to the cool, good looking, older people, who don't want to go to the retirement home, but probably should.
Yeah.
Like, so they're trying to show the hottest, youngest looking version. That's not real.
Right,
but,
it's not
you
real.
know?
And I don't think it's fair to the women in their 60s who are being portrayed by me.
Fair enough.
Like, this is not what I'm going to look like in my mid 60s.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
You think they get there and they're like, I don't look like Mandy Mayhem at all.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, clearly.
That's fucking wild. Well, you were talking too about, we had this long talk about perception, and you were saying, with Farside, half of them were into you being there, half of them weren't. Being, an older, white woman in hip hop, where people think like, oh, if she pops off, it's because she's this thing that has nothing to do with hip hop.
Yeah.
Do you feel that a lot? Is that something that you deal with a lot? And how do you deal with it?
Good question.
I think at first, like, for me, it's more like the guy who, when we walked in the studio, was like, "You're famous. I like your music. You crack me up." Right?
Yeah, like that,
It's like, I ain't no joke. Like, I'm not a joke. I'm funny, but I'm not a joke. So let's get that clear. And I think, with this album, there certainly are the bars there's always going to be humor. As an artist, I walk the line, because if you don't fucking get the cosmic joke, it's really depressing.
And humor's been a part of hip hop forever.
Yeah, facts.
Heavy D, the Fat Boys, you know what I mean? I mean, come on, there's so much shit there.
Boys.
De La Soul's fun.
Like, that was the first album I ever bought.
Let's also
who?
Fat Boys.
Oh, nice.
Fucking
First
great.
album you ever bought.
There's a crazy story that goes along with it, but we'll move on.
No, we can talk about it.
No,
I got a question. Was it bought on? Was it CD or was it vinyl?
Vinyl.
Nice.
With pennies. With
Hell yeah.
pennies.
Did I just bump that? Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
With pennies.
I was gonna say. Oh shit. I forgot what I was gonna say. Sorry.
No, it's all right.
You're doing.
Yeah. So like, I guess one way you could say like, how do you deal with a lot of that stuff though? Like, being like called out.
So, I just did something really stupid last week. I made this whole rhyme about Brooklyn. Like, I worked really hard on it because I have a show coming up on the 26th of March in Brooklyn. And I wrote a fucking verse, okay? And it's to Brooklyn, we go hard, And so the verse is, I'm so embarrassed for myself. Brooklyn, don't need to tell you to stand up. You roll up with your hands up. The land of expansion, altering hip-hop's projection. The borough is a hot spot. Rap's crock pot, cooking MCs, searching for notoriety. Crowning at least 3, Biggie, Nas, and Jay-Z.
Oh.
That's what I said.
That's
what I said. I got like crucified. I was like, why didn't anyone stop me? But then I was like, okay, at least I write my own shit.
That's true.
2, I'm not a Nas fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a Nas fan. I never was.
What?
I'm sorry, I'm not. And I also am such a
God.
hardcore Jay-Z fan that I was like refused to listen
Yeah.
to Nas. Refused. But now I just like I just did that and I was like, whatever. I mean, at this point it's like the vitriol that came when I first came out.
Holy
look,
shit.
I already broke the biggest rule of hip hop, which is like covering someone else's shit. Like you don't do that. Even Jay-Z has a line where he's like, I say a big verse, I'm bigging up my brother, I'm big enough to do it. Bigging up my borough, I'm that thorough, whatever. Plus I see my way through, whatever. He's like, he had to justify doing a big verse on his shit. And I'm like, it's not done.
Yeah.
It's not done, which is bullshit because like, look at jazz. Jazz being covered and redone has created a wealth for those artists that have created that music. Like having a song covered is generational wealth.
Yeah.
You don't let people cover your shit. You're cutting off your own balls to save your dick.
Facts. Yeah. Everything right now is being recycled right now.
That is true.
Everything is being covered and remade.
But what is not being covered? Hip hop. Very rarely. You might say a line here and there, but it's not covered.
Yeah. Like a rapper is never gonna do a cover of like Nori or something.
But why not? Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Why don't we do it? It's interesting. I understand like theoretically what it's about, like the territorial aspects of it and all of that. But like, that's one of the things about being an invisible old lady is that I can like stealth in and do that shit. And everyone's like, whoa, what the fuck? So I know that there's disruption, that I'm disrupting things. And that part of like why people are interested, like the real artists are interested in what I'm doing is because of that. Like Cool Keith messaged me and he's like, let's do a track. Because that's the kind of person like we get each other,
Yes, yeah.
You would definitely be the type of person that Cool Keith would want to make a track with.
He wants to do one with me and Mark Ribier, like a combo.
Hell
That's
yeah,
fucking awesome.
Yeah, because you're super fresh. Like no one's like kind of seen you before, right? Like this is something new for everybody, especially the hip hop community.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. yeah, there's a lot of different, the intersectional mayhem is I'm pissing people off in multiple ways. And you just like pick one, you know, like,
Yeah.
and for some people it's all of them. And like, you know, there are a few folks at the beginning who were very nasty to me. Some more so than others, but you know.
I could see that because people are just like, oh, this lady doesn't have a chance, so fuck her.
Not even.
I'm going to score points on this lady.
Yeah, they didn't even know that I was trying to rap. It was just like, she's doing a Jay-Z song. She must be high, or like, I don't know what's happening here. But like, real artists were like, no, this isn't someone just rapping in their living room. Like, she knows what the fuck she's doing. Like, people saw that. They're
nice.
like, and that was the first outreach that I got. But there was like, somebody from, I think it was from BET, like a news anchor or somebody, like quite prominent in the community, put up the Jay-Z video and said, "Dear white people, don't ever do this in public." Which, you know, is not funny, actually. It's actually not funny because that spurred, I don't know how many views were on that, millions of views.
Yeah.
And hundreds of thousands of comments that were unbelievable.
Oh.
Yeah.
That my family was like, I'm talking about this in therapy. Like, I'm really worried about you. This isn't okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I cried for 5 or 6 days, I think, after like that came out, because to be honest, the thing I was worried about was not the hip hop community being like, you're not hip hop, go away. It was, you're hurting the black community. You're appropriating, you're hurting us, and we've already heard enough.
And how do you deal with that, like that aspect of everything?
It's like you're just wanting to have fun, like do your thing and express yourself.
Well, yes, and it's an art form that, you know, was created for people that had nothing, by people that had nothing, because of, you know, fucking
all sorts of crazy
shit.
You know,
and
slavery, etc.
And sometimes there's like slavery. Sometimes there's like generational penance that needs to be paid. Like, you know, it still hasn't been paid. So like, for example, somebody, one of my Southern fans asked me about the N-word. And said, like, why can't you say that? It's just a word, you know, when I cover songs. And I was like, wow,
oh my God.
This is really cool that I get to have this conversation with this person, because who are they going to have this conversation with?
That is true. He's not going to have it with, like, you know, a different rapper or something like that, because it's usually a black guy.
And also without getting attacked.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, well, in my experience, you know, with like being into this music for so long and listening to what these people are saying, what rappers are saying, black rappers are saying, to be clear, that if I have to dance around a word, it's part of my acknowledging the thing.
Yeah.
And not pretending that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like whitewashing it or whatever. You know, I'm not trying to do that to hip hop. I'm trying to, it's not coming from a place of like strategy, that's for sure. But there is this like worshiping on the altar of hip hop that I feel is important. Just the same way I worship on the altar of acting. I study like Stanislavski and, you know, Strasberg and Adler and blah blah blah, because like it's important to me to understand where things came from, and that's just who I am as an artist.
I think you're right, and to be truly talented at something, you have to really pay attention to the roots of it and where it comes from, and you know, all of the dynamics of the art itself. So I think, you know, you're right on the way as far as that goes, but it must be a lot to deal with.
It was a lot at first, and there was this woman who reached out to me named Michelle Hollinger, and she wrote a book called Authentic Allyship, and it's actually a pamphlet. It's in my link tree, and it's about like allyship that's not performative. You know, she's like, what you're doing is authentic allyship. It's just you expressing your love for the culture in a way that's authentic to you, and not in a way that everyone wants you to do it, which, to my point earlier about being performative, trying to be what everyone wants me to be, I had to be able to let go of that to let myself express freely in all of my art forms. And now that I am, that's what's fucking resonating with people. It's like, I fuck up lyrics, I like maybe whatever, like I'm not perfect, but what everyone says to me when they come up to me in the street is it's the energy. Your energy is like so infectious.
There's an honesty, I think, to what you're doing and stuff, and people can see it, whether or not they necessarily like the music or not. They're like, I like what she's stepping out here to do.
Yeah.
And it's authentic and it's real, just like they're saying. You were talking about, I think, either like maybe on this podcast or another podcast that I watched, you were talking about you tried to convince yourself not to rap for 10 years.
Yeah.
Was there any music you did before rap, or, or like was rap the first time you really came out musically?
Yeah. I think just I sing, like I did, musical theater as a kid, and I've always sang, and I took music lessons. I wanted to sing. I have a really wild voice. It's like very not normal, just like everything else about me. It's like I have almost a 4-octave range. I can sing coloratura, soprano shit. I can do like rock voices, like belting. It just I never fit in because I was like, well, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah.
So I didn't have like a sound.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really get that. Like, where do I live? And it's the same thing with acting. It's like, how people look at me and they're just like, I don't fucking know what to do with you. You're hilarious. Your face is like plasticine, but yet you're pretty, but like your hair's gray. Are you 20? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You have little
You are
tits.
a lot to take in, because I'm like, her hair's gray, but she looks young, but I don't know what to do. That is one thing I did think. I was like, I wonder how old she is, because I'm like, she doesn't look old at all.
Yeah.
But she has gray hair.
Yeah, it's confusing.
It is a little confusing.
I know, I'm aware.
Like, and she's like playing up the grandma thing, but like she's clearly not. But like,
her next video is going to be in a nursing home. That's where we're going with this.
One time where someone was like, "You're too old to do this," and I was like, "Her palms are sweaty. His weak arms are heavy." You
give a lot of young men confusing thoughts.
Yeah, he's like, why do I have a chub? I got that comment yesterday. It's like, I don't know what turns you on, buddy, but it happens to a lot of people around me.
Why do I have a chub? I love it. Because we're just ending on that. Do you and you were talking about it earlier, but do you spend a good amount of time like responding to people in your comments or in your DMs or anything like that?
No, I don't even read the fucking comments anymore.
Yeah.
I was not okay for a while. Like, it was really bad.
No, I believe it.
Because you go in and it's like playing roulette. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. And I would open because I wanted to see how many people were sharing a specific thing when you go into the heart section on IG. But I would just, like, a comment would be there, and the ones that got the most interaction or that were the longest were usually the ones that were most hateful, and the algorithm would prioritize those. So I would see that on the top, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So I had to stop reading them completely. It was awful.
I got into a fight with a guy on one of her posts like a couple weeks ago.
You did?
Yeah.
I can see. I bet your comment section has to be divisive.
Oh, it's crazy.
It must be nice.
It's crazy.
That's how I met Keith Shockley, actually.
Really?
He was trolling my trolls.
That's
and I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then he said, I'm going to pull up to your show in Philly. And I was like, would you perform? And then he DJ'd, he opened for me. And and then he's like, I want to do a project with you. And I was like, why? Like, why? Are you trying to fuck me?
Yeah.
Because, I'm a good fuck. Everybody knows it. No, just kidding. I have not had sex in a long time. Like, shit's getting super weird.
Same.
Yeah. Well,
let's end this.
Yeah.
You probably can't afford me because like lunch is $300.
Yeah, lunch
not
is
right now. I
$300.
can't.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, that's how we met. But like back to the voice thing. working with someone who's not trying to fuck me has been amazing. Like
Oh.
he's really, really not. Never once has he made me feel uncomfortable. And you would think that would be normal, but it's like not every time I tried to make music in my life. It was just about that. And I had convinced myself that I wasn't good at making music because every time I'm in my 20s, I wanted to do it. Yeah. Every time I would meet a producer, it would just be about them trying to fuck me, and I thought, oh, I'm not good.
Yeah, it must not be good. They're lying to me to get me here, so I can't be. Yeah,
so that was
must
part
be
of
a major mind fuck.
I talked myself out of it, and then I dated a guy who was like abusive, who was a musician, who was like telling me bad shit about myself, so that wasn't helpful.
Yeah,
what's his name? Just say it on live.
Fat Lip from Farside?
No.
Whoa.
Please. He couldn't be abusive if he tried. He'd be like apologizing before he abuses you. He's the
sorry,
sweetest
I'm gonna do this,
human
but
ever.
Yeah, right. Sorry, I gotta go upside your head. But.
Sorry.
But you were talking about bad comments and shit. How do you deal with that? Because I'm starting to get some pretty mean comments myself, so I'm looking for advice.
Yeah. No.
I got some pretty.
There's two ways. There's two ways. One of which is like, you have to stop identifying with the positive and the negative.
Yes, yeah.
So you can't even like take the positive in, which is hard for an artist because we want to connect and be seen.
Yeah.
We want to be seen. That is our fucked upness, right?
That is fair.
So that's really challenging for us. We have to be seen in ways that feel safe, especially in the early stages of development of your project or your artistic expression.
Yeah.
So that means with like comrades, right? Other artists that you trust. That's where you go to look for feedback, not to Instagram, because that, the fire emojis feel good the first time, but then instead of 3 fire emojis, you're like, why aren't there 7? Why aren't there 12?
And I was actually gonna go into that.
7 makes it more meaningful.
It does, Hey, that's an angel number, right?
But if you rely on the positive comments, then the negative ones get you in the back. They're the shiv in the back, if that's the rub on the front. So you have to like go the Buddhist route, which is not identifying with anything and being in line with source and looking out at the world and experiencing it and seeing it as something external or outside of yourself. So you don't get the good if you want to not have the bad. The other way is just don't fucking read them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can I ask you though, so do numbers mean anything to you? Because I have this issue myself where, like, no matter how good I do or badly I do, it kind of doesn't really matter too much. Like, you were saying the whole thing with the flame emojis where it's like you get 4, then you want 5.
Yeah.
That's how I feel whenever I accomplish anything. I get any sort of real recognition for it. It's like it doesn't even... I'll see it and I'll be like, holy shit, that's a lot of numbers. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't, I feel nothing for it. I feel something for the craft of it, but not for the...
That's beautiful. Okay. I think it's been changing for me over time.
Let's get to know I'm Buddhist and not dead inside.
Yeah.
Because I think
that's what you're supposed to be when you're Buddhist, is dead inside. That's nirvana.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I've stopped caring as much, but like yesterday I put out this post and it's a kind of a spoken word piece where I'm doing a piece over a violin track.
Okay.
And it's something I'm really proud of. And I fucked up and like I was wearing one of my sweatshirts, and so I attached the product to the reel initially because I was wearing the sweatshirt, and then immediately had view suppression. So after, I know in the first, if I get 1,000 views in the first hour, that it's going to be a 15 to 20,000 view reel. If I get 10,000 in the first hour, then it probably will go viral.
Let's definitely talk about view suppression and analytics a little bit, because you recently had that whole reel that you put out on Instagram talking about how Instagram did you dirty. Can you elaborate on that?
Spotify did me dirty.
Sorry. Yeah. Spotify.
Yeah, but they're all dirty motherfuckers.
Sorry, Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Listen, so I've been sending some shit around to people, and law firms included, because I think that, would any of you disagree that that likes and engagement is considered currency?
Yeah, I would totally.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Why is it considered currency? Do you
Because that means people are paying attention to the thing you make, even if you don't have endorsements.
It's
not
viewership.
flashy.
Viewership that's what any major television show, any major outlet, the NBA, like that's
Right.
how they
And it's
that's how
quality
they
viewership.
build value.
Right.
Yeah. It has
How many eyes are seeing something?
So there are calculators online where I can punch in my Instagram handle and it will give me a value for my reel, for my post, for my story. It will be like
wow.
a reel for me is anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000. At this whatever day to day it changes based on my engagement. It pulls
wow.
that right out.
So they have literally like websites where you can calculate how much value your
Which
account
sounds
has.
a lot like a stock, right?
Yeah.
How we
Yeah.
value stocks. So now, if it's a currency, I make my money based on my metrics,
Yeah.
right? So if it's a currency, should it not be regulated as such? Because right now I have 3 different, say, apps that I'm working with, and each one of them, one likes to suppress views. I just had a reel got 1.6 million views. It was a podcast clip.
Congrats.
Thanks. I lost 2,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I know that
What?
podcast clip has nothing to do with hip hop, because in the clip I'm talking about buttholes and butthole situations with men and shit in their buttholes. It has nothing to do with hip hop. They don't even know who the fuck I am. 1.6 million views. That's not my audience.
all the DL gays just fucking dipped.
How did I?
2,000 DLs
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. What's it?
download, like guys
Download
that are,
gays.
guys
Oh,
that are
yeah,
on the down low.
Deal. Okay.
They're like, oh shit, now we can't follow her anymore.
Yeah, right?
But for real
talking
though,
about butt
like
stuff?
why
Oh,
why did I lose 2,000 followers? And then I saw this post by Jamila, I forget her last name, and
Jamel Hill?
maybe
Oh, no.
she's
She's
way
sports
famous.
analyst.
No, she's a way famous.
Okay. I might be getting it
podcaster.
wrong, but go on.
So
think it's
she
Jamel.
has millions of followers, and she was like, I have lost 100,000 followers in the past 2 months, and I've been posting 10 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what's going on. And then all these people, all her fans came in and were like, actually, I just checked and I was following you and now I'm not. Instagram unfollowed me from you.
Yeah.
So they're actually going through and culling
Yes.
your followers. Now, you're taking away my pennies from me.
Yep.
Each one of those is a penny. Each one of those is a metric. That's a currency, and you're not telling me about it.
Yeah.
And what Spotify did was remove all of my streams on one of my songs and claim that I had hired a bot and I paid for a legal playlist placement. That's not true. I have super fans that are very excited about my music that put it on repeat.
Oh, that's you this time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that
so-
put it on repeat. And one person streamed my song 9,000 times.
Yeah.
So I can
Whoa.
understand why they thought it might have been, but she is a person. She
Yeah.
has an account. She pays for said account.
And it's organic, yeah.
And it's organic. Like, you're going to take my song down and remove all my streams because
I know.
of what a fan did?
And then, yeah.
No, No. This is my currency. You have set up this structure so that now I am reliant on you fucking bitches for my livelihood.
Yeah.
P.S. All of my labor that I'm doing is lining your pockets,
Oh,
not
yeah.
mine. And now you're going to take away my ability to make money. And then TikTok banned me for a week for gossiping about Erykah Badu's pussy. And I could not go live for a week, which is where I make my money.
Yeah.
Going live, the gifts that I'm now just at, no, sorry, you can't work for a week. I can't pay my rent now because you arbitrarily fucking decided that saying the word pussy is not okay when I actually say it every 4 minutes in my show anyway for a year and a half.
And they'll turn that stuff. They'll turn the well on and off.
Oh yeah.
Whenever they want to.
Because they're manipulating us.
It's just whoever they deem is inappropriate, they can just slap that label onto and take stuff away from. And it's just it's fucking it's really awful.
It's
I think
awful,
about it.
and it's like every creator that I know, particularly the ones that are live streaming on TikTok, are so burnt out. Mental
course.
health is not okay because we're not only are we creating art, but the fuckery with like how often you have to post, what you have to
yeah.
post, it's this shit, and it needs to be regulated because there's way too many people on here surviving, making their living off of this. It needs to be regulated. It's currency. It needs regulation. Period. And I don't care who the fuck I have to sue, but join me.
I think you're right.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
That's a good little cheers moment there.
Cheers.
Definitely.
Salud. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're here too. And I think in this weird way, I think that's just them hyper regulating you is them not regulating the big names that do a lot of those things. You know what I mean? Like they'll come after someone like you and say you have a bunch of fake bots or whatever, but not come at Drake because Drake is Drake. You know what I'm saying? Because legally now they have to come out and say that I think they made some sort of law where it's like celebrities or musicians on Spotify now can only earn money if like I think it's less than like 80% of your listeners are bots. You know? So there's a lot of really big name musicians who use bots through record labels.
Yeah.
And they're not selling nearly as much.
No.
But like they're never going to take a hit. So they just throw the hit to you.
I saw this article today.
Even though your shit's real.
In the New York Times. It was like, I'm going to read you from it because I screenshotted it. This creative destruction is only further weakening an industry that already offers little economic incentive to make something new. In the 90s, as the musician and indie label founder Jenny Toomey wrote recently in Fast Company, a band could sell 10,000 copies of an album and bring in about $50,000 in revenue.
Yeah.
10,000
Only
copies.
10,000, yeah.
To earn the same amount in 2024, the band's whole album would need to rack up 1 million streams, roughly enough to put each song amongst Spotify's top 1% of tracks. The music industry's revenues recently hit a new high, with major labels raking in record earnings, while the streaming platform's models mean that the fractions of pennies that trickle through to artists are skewed toward megastars.
And what do you think about like AI and all that stuff that's slowly going to be introduced into all that stuff? Because, I mean, right now, I think you're an anomaly, which is why people like you, especially in the hip hop scene. But if you had AI, you could just make some fake image, throw your voice onto it, throw your raps onto it, and be the next hottest 19-year-old blonde, white girl rapper.
You could be a gorilla.
You know?
Great idea.
You could be gorillas.
Yeah, you could be any. Yeah, you could be gorillas. Yeah. Be anything.
I'm interested in AI. I think that I find a lot of inspiration from it, like in the visual imagery, the generative AI I think is interesting. I am concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm concerned for sure. I'm concerned. As a filmmaker, I'm concerned. As an actor, I'm concerned. As a writer, I'm concerned. I think as a tool to like help me write in my own voice, but again, we need heavy regulation. We need heavy protections. And I might be Canadian, but I don't trust your government to handle it.
I feel that. Do you think like I don't know, like do you think how much like how can I say this? Do you think with how much you can do with it that like authenticity will still exist? You know what I mean? Because now people are making.
That me?
I guess
That's
so.
me. Yeah, we're good. Keep rolling.
But yeah, do you think authenticity can still exist with so many technical aids for you? Because of AI now.
Yeah, I do, and I think AI will actually create some interesting things for us. But I do think that people need protection from the heavy duty manipulation that's happening. Yeah. I think that the biggest concern I have about AI is the ability to manipulate us further and more deeply. Yeah. Like this book Dopamine Nation is so interesting. It's called Dopamine Nation, I think so. But it's about our addiction to dopamine that's coming from our phones. This constant, like we need a hit every 7 minutes of dopamine, so we pick up our phone looking for a hit. It might even be worse now. It might even be shorter.
I know with me it is.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So it's like we can't fight this. Like we can have as much willpower as we want, but at the end of the day, we're fighting a machine that's way stronger and way bigger than we are.
Definitely.
The algorithm of Instagram that I am like living my life on right now, and TikTok, is trying to turn me into a bot. It's trying to turn me into a bot to generate. And so at some point I'm going to break and be like, it's easier for me to do this in AI than it is for me to just like show up and create stuff. What AI doesn't get is there. Look, I was at the Broad, which is a museum in LA, and they have Keith Haring and Basquiat, a really nice collection of both artists. And I'm a bit of a woo-woo, and I'm pretty sure that Basquiat was like talking to me, but that's like another story. But like when I saw Keith Haring's work, there was this one giant piece that's a red piece that he painted. It's, you know, his little guys or whatever, but there's dripping paint. And I never really understood Keith Haring because I had always only seen him on like tote bags and sweatshirts and like blah, blah, blah. But when I saw the piece of his work, I was like, oh, this is the most sexual painting I've ever seen in my life. And I could feel this man's sexuality throbbing out of this piece of artwork. And Pollock, I saw Pollock, his number one, the first painting he did, he does the splatter paintings. And it's like probably 150 layers of paint that somehow is this fucking masterpiece of symmetry and composition that at the same time looks like the brain of a very unhealthy alcoholic that is so scattered and depressed and fucked. And like, that is shit that AI will never be able to make.
Yeah.
I used to be an art dealer, and we had an artist who painted this masterpieces. He's an incredible artist. I won't say his name, because he started out learning to copy the masters, and they would sell like repainted versions of, not like in deep fakes, but like, you know, for fucking coffee mugs and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So he would repaint it. He was so good at copying himself that he repainted one of his paintings that sold almost exactly. But when you look at it, it didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
Because when he was painting the first one, he was discovering it as he was painting it.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to experience when we see real art.
Right.
It's like, I don't care what you discover. I just want to see you discovering something and do it with you. We're downloading at the same time. AI will never be able to do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think there is. I was
AI can only build off of what has already been done.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think it's also just AI doesn't have fucking angst and like real emotional
Not
shit
yet.
that ties to art. You know, like
Yeah, right.
It was it like David Tell. I was watching a podcast with him. And they were talking about AI. And he was like, yeah, but like, you know, oh, do you think AI is going to be able to write jokes? And he's like, yeah, but AI can't work at Starbucks for 10 years, go to an open mic, fail, and then spend the next 10 years still doing comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, knowing that experience, yeah.
You know, and I kind of get that. And it's not something you always experience when you see a finally finished, polished product, but that's something that's there. You can see the years on people sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, it'll be interesting to see what it does to art, but there's a reason why people are sending postcards and writing handwritten letters and writing in journals, and
True.
you know, because there's the tactile. I believe I am God experiencing itself. That I am having a human experience. And I was listening to this woman one time who had a near-death experience talk about, you know, this common theme that happens when people have near-death experiences is that they go and they meet their relatives, right? And when they meet their relatives, they communicate telepathically. They always say this: we didn't have to speak. And I was listening to this woman tell this story, which I've heard many times from other folks, and it just occurred to me that if you don't speak, you don't have vibration. Is there music? Can I use my voice? Will I be able to sing? Wait, what if the purpose of this and the reason that we keep reincarnating or keep coming back to this is because we want the sensorial experience? The sensorial experience of being alive, of touching, of smelling, of seeing, of breathing, of feeling vibration. That's what it means to be present in your body. That's what it means to be in communion with the divine, is like, I am God experiencing itself and having a sensorial experience. And that's another thing that AI is never going to get.
Yeah.
And never mind, that's what I think all art is trying to fucking explain the sensorial experiences. We can't. You can't.
Trying to explain your presence to other people.
Yeah.
At the same time through a bunch of different filters.
Yeah.
It's true. I used to say that all the time. I just get fucking high and just talk to people and be like, I feel like art is just all of us trying to say that we're here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to see if other people are here with us.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You know, they might not have to agree with what the art is, but just the fact that they're looking at it at the same time, you know, means something. That means, you know, the world exists.
Fuck yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Wild.
So fucking weird.
We got about 3 minutes left here.
Okay.
Mandy.
Nice.
I got a question for you that I didn't get to ask yet. If you could freestyle, or when you freestyle on a radio show, whether that be Sway's 5 Fingers of Death or whatever it's called, or
It's Sway in the morning.
Sway in the morning.
Yeah.
Sway in the morning.
Same diff.
Who does the five?
That might be Big Boy.
No.
Oh, Joe Budden talked about me on his podcast a couple weeks ago.
All right.
That's hilarious.
Apparently
Ooh,
they were all right with it.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Okay.
who
I
knows?
could see Joe Budden. I could see Joe Budden liking you.
I'm sure. Well,
I think he does.
Yeah, I could see that. But he's also like a weird, fucked in the head troll guy. I could see him being like
mad.
pissing off. Oh yeah, he'd either hate you or like he's like, I like her, but the real reason he likes you is because you know he's pissing off a bunch of other rappers.
Right.
I could totally see that. I could
That's
totally
funny.
see that. He has no real emotion.
That's toxic as hell.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
He definitely seems toxic. But, you know.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to
Anyway,
interrupt.
go
So,
on.
so
We gotta go viral hating somebody else again.
morning show, whether it be Funk Flex, Sway, who you going with? Are you gonna do both, or who do you want to do first?
Oh.
Because those are the legendary
That's facts.
Yeah.
freestyle.
That's facts.
If you really want to prove the bars.
I mean, I would like just both.
I know Sway.
I don't
I
think-
know Sway's is. I know
can
I know
choose.
people prepare for Sway's.
Sway, people definitely prepare for
Yeah,
Sway.
yeah, yeah.
I started
Lil Dicky
writing
talks
one
about
because
that
I
shit.
thought I was gonna get on
106 in Park.
No, 106 in Park. Could you imagine?
That would be fucking lit.
No, like what's the LA one? 103.6 or is it?
Oh, yeah. I know what
106.
you mean. LA
Power
Leakers.
106.
Oh, Power 106.
Power
Power
106, LA Leakers, yeah.
Yeah, because they
DJ Sour Milk.
they posted my shit and like so I thought maybe I'll get to be on there. So I started writing one.
That's a big one. That's a very big one.
But
LA
the
Leakers,
freestyle
yeah.
I wrote is gonna be in my on my album.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like
Fire.
a bunch of math shit. Like it's a bunch of math metaphors.
Okay. That's fucking...
Can't pin me down.
Yeah, you're all over that. I wish we had like an extra hour
Yeah.
to
I'm
get
not
to
free.
know
I'm
you.
not doing it for you, but
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Maybe if
for
we had
you, she
$300.
said.
well, yeah,
Buy
that
you
would be
lunch,
at least half an
you know?
hour and a burger.
Here we go. Well, it's
Yeah,
been really
food,
nice
food and
talking
drinks
to
on me next
Thank
time.
you.
I promise.
Okay.
When you get more time. Do you want to? Do we have a name for the album?
No,
No name yet.
not yet. I can tell you the songs that we're going to be doing in the show on Tuesday at the Sultan Room in Bushwick. One song is called Final Ovulation Celebration.
you. All right. Sounds fun.
And
Final
then-
ovulation
yeah.
celebration.
And then there's
That's
another
amazing.
one. This is one of Keith's and I's songs. Another one called Beaver Trap.
Nice.
And then
It'll get you.
another one called Never Too Late. There's a couple more, but those are 3 titles I can give you.
Oh, and you know,
Cool.
one final podcast question. If there's any male celebrity you would get
Tay Diggs.
caught... Really?
Fucking? Fucking? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tay Diggs. Fuck
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. There we go. All
yeah.
right.
I mean,
Perfect.
yeah,
It is.
I've been hard for him for like 20 years.
He's a very good-looking man.
He's also hilarious.
He is really funny.
Hilarious.
He's great in Rent. He has a good voice.
I mean, just look at his IG. It's fucking hilarious.
He is
He's
good
like,
shit.
he loves that awkward, like really uncomfortable comedy that I love so much.
Malibu's Most Wanted. He was
Oh,
fucking great. in
fuck.
I
that.
never saw that.
Oh
What?
my god.
What?
Yeah,
Tay
okay.
Diggs- you never
Oh,
saw. Oh, he was great in that.
Okay, I'll go
Okay.
watch it.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. See, this is why
You gotta see that.
the next hour will just be us watching Malibu's Most Wanted and live reviewing it.
Okay, cool.
Oh man. But anyway,
Holy
Mandy, thank you so much for
shit.
coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Mandy.
having me, guys.
I'm glad you came. I'm
Yeah.
glad you came.
I
Just-
didn't come, but
Well, not
someday, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not yet.
We did our best. We tried.
We tried.
You want to drop the handle there?
We'll do some Kundalini
Yeah.
exercises next time.
Kundalini. So you can follow
Connecting the
me on,
source.
on the terrible evil empire Instagram at Manda Murhead, MandaMurejd, head as in head. TikTok, I'm Ms. Mandy Mayhem. Don't ask why they're different. YouTube, I'm Manda Murhead. Patreon, please support me.
Yes, please support her.
I'm on Patreon and fucking Spotify, Mandy Mayhem.
There you go.
Here.
All right, guys, we'll see you later. You can catch me, Phil Risden, on all fucking handles, all social media. I'm out here. I'll see you later. Peace.